Viking ships were made by overlapping oak planks and filling the gaps with wool and/or animal hair to make it waterproof. It was held together with iron rivets, ropes, and nails. There were many different types of Viking ships, ranging from a small fishing boat to the magnificent log ship. Viking ships had a high length to width ratio. The deck of the ship was very high so that when the boat was tipping, water did not get onto the deck. The boat's hull didn't go too far into the water, so it could travel in shallow waters. Many of the boats had carvings on it, even the small fishing ships. Viking longships measured between 30 and 50 meters. Boats were a symbol of wealth.
There were two main tools on a Viking ship. There were the oars and the steering paddle at the right rear of the ship. The oars were used in deep waters when there was no wind, or in shallow waters for more control. When the Vikings were rowing, they could achieve 5 to 6 knots going directly into wind. The Vikings sat on sea chests while they rowed. It was also a place to keep their valuables. The steering paddle at the back of the ship was used to steer the boat. Another tool of travel was the mast. In a good wind, the mast could make the boat travel up to 10 knots.
When Vikings couldn't dock on land, they would sleep on the boat with very little comfort. Vikings would have slept on fur or some sort of animal pelt when they slept. Vikings would prefer to dock on land so they would have a comfortable night and a good rest sleep. It was very hard for Vikings to cook because they were on a wooden bait and they could have burned the boat. The way they solved this problem was by attaching chains to a tripod that connected to a pot where they would hold the food, and another 3 chains that connected to another pot that would hold the fire. So when the boat was swinging, the fire or the food would not fall off. The Vikings mainly ate dried and salted fish on their voyage.
There were 30 to 100 Vikings on a ship, depending on how big the ship was. The Vikings had a leader on and off the ship.
Viking clothes were made of wool and leather. Vikings wore a short wool t-shirt. They also wore a cloak that was made of wool or an animal pelt. Vikings wore long cloth trousers, which can be narrow or baggy.
The Vikings used the stars, the sun, and a basic compass to find their destination on their voyage.